in the grip of black gold. Who became the first oil tycoon in history? And why did this person go bankrupt? This is the Iraqi oil field Baba Gurgur, one of the largest in the world. Baba Gurgur is a popular attraction. Tourists are drawn to the unquenchable flame, which Iraqis call the eternal fire. And Plutarch wrote about the eternal fire of Baba Gurgur. There is also a mention of it in the Bible. Archaeological excavations prove that as early as the 6th millennium BC, petroleum products, like bitumen and asphalt, were actively used here in Mesopotamia.
In the area of Babylon, which is present-day Baghdad, oil surfaced through cracks in the Earth's crust, and it is believed that the walls of Babylon were held together with natural asphalt.
Petroleum products were used in the construction of roads and fortifications. They were used to caulk ships. The Sumerians attempted to treat wounds with crude oil. The Egyptians used it for embalming mummies, while the Chinese and Greeks invented oil-based flamethrowers.
The exact composition of the famous Greek fire is unknown, but oil was definitely one of its components. This flammable mixture was most often used in naval battles, and it was almost impossible to extinguish because it burned even on the surface of the water.
However, the Chinese invented oil projectiles many centuries before the appearance of Greek fire. The warriors of the Middle Kingdom filled special containers with oil, set them on fire, and threw them into enemy ranks or over fortress walls. Moreover, it was the Chinese who first began using black gold for heating and lighting. In the 4th century, the first oil wells in history were drilled in the Middle Kingdom using pipelines made of hollow bamboo. In medieval Europe, they were unaware of the Chinese oil fields. There, black gold was extracted using more primitive methods.
It was extracted mainly by collecting it from the surface of water bodies with rags, blankets, and other materials. And they would simply squeeze it into some containers. And in this way, oil was collected. You could say, not even extracted.
More efficient methods of oil extraction were practiced by the Arabs and Persians. Like the Chinese, they extracted black gold from the depths. They dug deep wells in, used hand pumps to bring the oil to the surface. The Italian merchant and navigator Marco Polo described the operation of hundreds of such wells on the Caspian, in the Baku area. In the 19th century, one of the largest oil extraction centers was established at Bibi, Hebat.
This was the main extraction center during the times of the Russian Empire. Here, too, oil came very close to the surface. The local residents had known about it for a long time. And there are many debates about who actually drilled the first oil well, whether it was in the Baku area, in the Russian Empire, or in the United States by Colonel Drake.
The well at the Bibi Hebat field was drilled earlier. But it was the American Edwin Drake who became the world's first oil magnate. Drake worked as a simple railroad clerk. For importance, he gave himself the title of Colonel and was quite far from hydrocarbon development. He entered this industry by chance after meeting the founders of one of the first oil companies in the USA, Bissell and Eveleth.
Household lamps and street lanterns were often fueled with whale oil, which led to the whale population being on the brink of extinction.
Bissell and Eveleth were looking for a geological scout. Railroader Drake, with his right to free travel, turned out to be a suitable candidate. He arrived in the town of Titusville, Pennsylvania, where oil was literally seeping through the ground to the surface. But Drake planned to extract it, not from small puddles, but from depth. Initially, the drilling did not yield any results. The company owners became disillusioned with Drake's project and withdrew their funding. The future oil tycoon had to borrow money from friends.
Drake was on the verge of despair, but he didn't stop trying to find black gold. In the end, he got very lucky. He drilled a well right on the edge of an oil deposit. If Drake had missed by even 3 or 4 meters, he wouldn't have found oil.
Drake pumped oil using a regular hand pump and poured it into buckets and barrels. The reserves he discovered were so large that soon all the containers in Titusville were used up.
They bought up all the barrels available in the area to store it somewhere. That's how we got the modern barrel. A barrel is the size of the container into which the discovered oil was initially poured.
Drake founded his own oil company and extracted at least 10 barrels a day. He sold it at a price of $20 per barrel. In today's terms, that's about $800.
And soon, a real oil rush began in Pennsylvania. The entire Titusville was literally dotted with oil rigs, and the price of land in the area increased 300 times.
Pennsylvania's oil El Dorado attracted many bandits and adventurers of all kinds. Gunshots regularly rang out at the oil fields, and there was a constant redistribution of property. And after the Civil War, veterans flocked here, deciding to use their combat experience in the division of the oil valley.
As for Edwin Drake himself, he turned out to be a poor businessman. He did not patent his drilling method and subsequently lost his entire fortune on unsuccessful stock market speculations.
Stay tuned. John Rockefeller's oil empire. Why did the first billionaire in history try to establish a kerosene monopoly in Russia? The invention of the ordinary kerosene lamp gave a powerful boost to the development of global oil production. It was developed in 1853 by Polish pharmacists Ignacy Lukasiewicz and Jan Zay. They experimented in a pharmacy laboratory with crude oil, trying to create a medicine from it. In the process of distilling black gold, the pharmacists obtained kerosene, an oily liquid that burned with a steady and bright light, without soot or smoke.
The first dollar billionaire in history, John Rockefeller, made his fortune on kerosene. He founded an oil refining company that eventually took control of almost the entire oil market in the United States.
The United States became too small for Rockefeller. He decided to capture the international market and attempted to establish his monopoly even in the Russian Empire. At one time, American kerosene was purchased for street lighting in St. Petersburg. But soon Rockefeller had a powerful competitor, the landowner Vasily Kokorev. He founded the Baku Oil Society and began producing millions of poods of kerosene annually. When launching the oil refinery, Kokorev consulted with the leading chemists of the empire, including Dmitry Mendeleev. Rockefeller tried to eliminate competitors by any legal and illegal means. He lowered the prices of his kerosene, commissioned publications about the allegedly low quality of Russian oil products, and, according to some reports, even organized sabotage at the Baku oil fields.
Through Iran, they actively conducted subversive activities, particularly in the area of modern-day Azerbaijan. There were arson attacks, and fires frequently occurred in this area, destroying part of the infrastructure and production.
In addition to Kokorev, the Russian Oil Production Partnership of the Nobel brothers also competed with Rockefeller. Among the founders of this company was Alfred Nobel, the inventor of dynamite and the founder of the Nobel Prize. The partnership extracted oil in Baku, Grozny, and the Turkmen city of Chelakhin.
Later, first a railway was built, and then an oil pipeline from the Baku fields to the Batumi area in modern-day Georgia. And to this day, by the way, there stands a building that belonged to the Nobel Company.
In the end, the Americans were unable to stifle the Russian oil industry. The competition between Russia and the USA continues to this day.